joins ADC.
No. Unless Tinubu joins the debate. You remember in 2023...
Sorry, this is coming from ADC. Sorry.
You remember in 2023, Tinubu didn't engage in any of the debates. So that's what he's trying to avoid. And he also claims that the reason why he did not attend the peace accord signing ceremony was because Tinubu was not there. But in my thinking, do you use a bad example to set an example?
Because it's fingering in a way, it gets back to you. So if you get to power, so are you now going to do certain things because the previous administration did certain things, or you're going to do the right thing to correct the mistakes of the previous administration? So that also is there. But if Atiku is to boycott debate unless Tinubu joins the debate, it's a smart move from his end, but it still doesn't make sense.
How smart is that?
He's using what's it called, Tinubu as a bait to avoid the debate.
Well, he's free to use Tinubu as a bait to avoid the debate. But he should also ask himself, is it also not possible? Because the election the Nigerians say was the freest. The 1993 election where Abiola, what gave Abiola the edge was the debate. The presidential debate was what gave Abiola the edge. People said that is the man they wanted to vote for. So in 2026, we're talking about skipping a debate because one candidate may not attend. Are you saying that of all the political parties that are presidential candidates, it's only one candidate?
That would be the reason why you won't express what you want to
tell Nigerians what you want to do, why you deserve their votes.
And then this other story here, APM slams federal government for not inviting Makinde. Claims Tinubu scared of Oyo governor's popularity and performance, even if it's not much of what I subscribe to. But as you can see, this is giving Cold War. It's giving Oyo Makinde having some sort of I don't know, the president, the presidency and Makinde, they are not much in good terms. And I thought this would end from the Oyo incidents with the kidnapped children and the teachers and what have you, but it seems low-key, it keeps showing off every now and then. When he subscribed for the UNN
investigation, the independent investigation.
Yes, they counter it. I think it's all from the fact that they are not in support of him. They just have a thing about him that they are yet to really unravel. And now you're coming to a state, to reconstruct a road, a major road, and the government is not aware or not even present. It's still concerning.
Well, it might be easy to agree to what you're saying or to subscribe to it, but let me ask, can you count on one finger how many roads have been flagged off with pomp and ceremony that were never constructed? So you tell me whether he was invited or not. As far as I am concerned, maybe there is a breach of protocol, but as far as I am concerned, if that road is constructed and people in Oyo State benefit from it, that for me is what is best. If Makinde was invited and after the flag off, everybody goes to bed, what happens to the average man in Oyo State? We'll begin to talk the same old story, story of Asaba Agbobini Road. The ENUGU Onitsha Road, how many times have they talked about the reconstruction? So we need to ask ourselves, is it the ceremony that is important or getting the job done?
Okay, talking about getting the job done, 4 to 3/3 dead, several abducted as terrorists lay siege to 5 Niger communities. And also Tinubu condemns the killing usually, and mass abduction as well, orders immediate rescue, says terror won't cow Nigeria. It keeps getting worse, if you ask me. From one story to the other, from one state to the other, it just keeps growing. It just feels like we don't even have any security, because it seems these people are improving and getting better in their different acts. And we keep hearing, of course, the president will always condemn it, and will always order for, things to be done. And if it's not a popular case, it will take God knows how long. When the doctors are tired, they release them. And then, I'm sorry to say, the military and the presidency will take the glory. They did the work and they got them.
How do you know the terrorists got tired and released them?
This thing needs, you need to be feeding them. You need other things to be doing to them. You can see that they are just useless. The people that are supposed to protect them don't care about them. They just have pity on them. I beg me, can I carry a while? Bad markets, carry your bad markets, come over here. They look for the next target.
Really? But we need to, military experts and security experts should begin to ask themselves some critical questions. We have drones. We are cooperating with the United States. From the news yesterday, they are also training, giving hands-on training to Nigerian soldiers and intelligence officers. So, the drones, unmanned aerial vehicles and all that, where are we getting the security architecture wrong that we cannot correct up till now? That week in, week out, I'm scared to say day in, day out, but that's what it appears to be. People are kidnapped in droves. It's not one, not two, not three, in droves. And people are killed.
As if they were nothing.
We right now, we have forgotten that life is sacred. So, everyone killed, everyone kidnapped, is just a statistical number.
Yeah, just like like the next story, like every other story we hear every day. Imagine you just mentioned 43 killed. And it just came like that, and that's just it.
So
these are human beings.
At the end of the year, they will say in 2026, so number of people were killed. It becomes a statistical number.
All right, so for the sake of time, we'll just go through like one or two stories, and we get to look at the next thing. The next paper here is Daily Trust. On Daily Trust 2027, Knox as FCT Council Chair threatens residents to vote APC. Knox as FCT Council Chair threatens residents to vote APC. Article doubles down on restoring fuel subsidy. Residents demand justice as Mary Habiba was buried. Rada Masari Rift split Katsina APC. Man kills wedding guest over noise pollution in Kano. Man kills wedding guests over noise pollution in Kano. Diphtheria killed 50 children in Kano. This is coming from the lawmaker. Zenith Bank rallies stakeholders to boost $6.1 billion non-oil exports. 1 week after Wike's order, many buildings remain in green areas. And Vanguard, now on the Vanguard newspaper, crude imports by domestic refineries jump 151.5% in July. NMDPRA speaking there. Dolly Parton, U.S. country music legend, dies at 80. That you can find on page 7. 2027, why coalition failed to pick single presidential candidate. Amechi sharing his thoughts on that. And Zenith Bank rallies trade leaders to drive value addition in non-oil exports. Motorists, highways of horror. Motorists will spend 4 days on Benin Asaba Road. 2027 presidency, ACF, PANDEF, MBF demands scrutiny of candidates' history. A very interesting thing to look at. And drug war, Mawa seeks global action to seize traffickers' wealth. Idel Balud, Tinubu governors, Khan, PDP, others preach peace, unity. And US plans revocation of 200,000 visas as asylum seekers. Nigeria fights to save 1.4 trillion naira agro exports. There's a lot more you can get when you grab a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. And that's just about it on the newspaper review this morning. Now let's go straight into something really, really interesting just in a bit. Stay with us.
Sequins, soul and a sharp mind, Dolly Parton was the American dream in a wig and high heels.
Your beauty is beyond compare.
With a voice that could cut through a smoky bar or a broken heart, Jolene became one of the best-selling songs of all time.
Are you offended by the dumb blonde jokes?
No, why would I be offended by dumb blonde jokes? I know I'm not dumb, and we know I'm not. Back through the years I go wandering once again, back to the seasons of my youth. And I recall a box of rags that someone gave us, and how my mama put the rags to use. There were rags of many colors, but every piece was small. I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, sewing every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. While Mama sewed, she told a story from the Bible she had read about a coat of many colors Joseph wore, and then she said, I hope this coat will bring you good luck and happiness. And I just couldn't wait to wear it, and Mama bless
Country music icon Dolly Parton has died at the age of 80. Parton was born on January 19 in 1946 in Tennessee. Parton was the fourth of 12 children. The country music legend was an iconic American singer, songwriter, actress, philanthropist, and businesswoman, globally recognized as the Queen of Country. Over a legendary career spanning more than 6 decades, she transited her genre to become one of the most beloved entertainment figures in modern history, selling over 100 million records and composing more than 3,000 songs. Parton's death was reportedly announced by her nephew, Brian Seaver, on Instagram on Tuesday. Parton, who rose from humble beginnings in Tennessee to become one of country music's most celebrated singer-songwriters, she captured hearts with her records globally, with hit songs including Jolene, 9 to 5, and I Will Always Love You.
If I should stay, well, I would only be in your way. So I'll go, but I know I'll think of you each step of the way. And
Parton wrote more than 3,000 songs and won 11 Grammy Awards, 3 Emmys, and received the prestigious Jean Hochschild Humanitarian Award. The country music icon was inducted into both the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She was also a successful actor, appearing in films including 9 to 5, The Best Little Whole House in Texas, and Joyful Noise, among others. After graduating from high school in 1964, she moved to Nashville the following day and began establishing herself as a songwriter. She released her debut album, Hello, I'm Dolly, in 1967. The same year, she joined the weekly television program, The Porter Wagner Show. In 1973, Parton decided to concentrate on her solo career and wrote I Will Always Love You about their professional separation. The song became a hit for Parton and was later famously recorded by Whitney Houston for the 1992 film The Bodyguard. Parton also wrote Jolene, one of her signature songs, around the same period. Both songs were included on her 1974 album Jolene, which helped introduce her to a wider audience beyond country music.
Thank you, Porter. I feel very honored. Hope I'll do a good job. Thank you. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. He talks about you in his sleep, and there's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene. When I can easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can.
Parton founded the Imagination Library in 1995, gifting over 150 million free books to children worldwide. She also founded Critical Medical Advancements. She founded it, including a famous $1 million donation for COVID-19 vaccine research. She was indeed a legend, an icon, and a US music country soul singer. She brought hearts together. She taught people what humility was. And then she was really, really loved. We are going to miss this very rare artist. May your gentle soul rest in peace, Dolly Parton. Stay with us as we come back for more exciting conversation. We'll be having Chokwe Sokoria that will be joining us shortly as we take a look at the 2027 political calculation. It's a whole lot that you just don't want to miss. Stay with us.
You don't tire for this picture. Oh yeah, make you follow Unorodo. Nigeria don't go digital with free TV. Over Over 100 channels they with you. Sport, news, and better entertainment for your own language. No matter where you dey, whether for city or whether for village, the satellite signal they reach every corner of Nigeria from day one. No monthly payment again. Once you get Ogbonge free to air decoder, you don't win. This one na our own national asset. Even from your phone, you fit watch am. Just download the free TV app and carry your TV go anywhere you dey go. Scan that code now or call 0700-388-7277. Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by MBC.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder, so...
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hubs on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
We are local.
International communities observing
Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken this vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
For months, the opposition's central conversation has been about one thing: unity. Today, that conversation continues with African Democratic Congress chieftain Dino Melaye saying opposition parties are still working toward a broader alliance capable of challenging President Bola Tinubu and the APC, while Atiku Abubakar has challenged President Tinubu to a presidential debate. Peter Obi, on the other hand, has also called on presidential candidates to come before Nigerians, defend their records, and subject their plans to public scrutiny. The President, Bola Tinubu, enters the race with the advantages of incumbency and a formidable political organization. The APC controls 31 of Nigeria's 36 governorships, according to recent reporting. Now, that is a significant advantage if you ask me. But there is another number the President cannot ignore. Recent reporting indicates that nearly 80% of Nigerians surveyed believe the country is moving in the wrong direction, with economic hardship and insecurity among the principal concerns. The APC has the stronger political structure. The opposition may have the stronger political grievance. The election will turn on which side can convert its advantage into votes. We're excited, I am excited, to introduce to you our guest, Chief Dr. Chekwa Sokoria. He is a prominent Nigerian elder statesman, political strategist, and the pioneer national chairman and founder of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA. He later founded the defunct United Progressive Party, UPP, and ran as its presidential candidate in the 2015 general election. Chief Okoria is also the national chairman of the Igbo Agenda Dialogue, IAD. Born in 1953 in Abia State, is highly regarded as a key voice for Igbo political interests and regional development within Nigeria. Good morning and welcome to Signature Morning.
Good morning and thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure, really.
And same here.
And you look really sharp and good. What could be the secret? I don't see you as. Are you still running on the streets?
No, because of the insecurity in the country, since lost the luxury of jogging in the street. But I do exercises in my home, and but beyond that, I think just having being happy, trying to be happy in spite of whatever is going on in the society. And being at peace with yourself and with your neighbor is the key to looking good.
I like that. So let's take it back from the roots. You know, you've been in politics, you know, and of course in the Igbo interest for over 4 to 5 decades, if I'm not mistaken.
5 decades.
Yes. What really brought about this passion, the motivation from the start that made you to go into politics?
Yeah, well, let me put it this way. Yes, I've been involved in Igbo-related matters, Igbo Right Crusade, then politics, for a period of 50 years, starting from 1976. By 1976, I was already doing my second year in the university, University of Nigeria, ENUGU campus to be precise. And that was the year Ohaneze was formed. By a group of very prominent Igbo leaders from what we call the Southeast states now, and Rivers, Delta states, and Nyoma area. Those were the people who came together to form Ohaneze. And don't forget, 76 was barely 6 years after the end of the war. So there was a need to have that kind of body to look at where we were before the war, what the war has cost us, the prospects, what the future will look like. And I'll just mention a few names of those who are at the head for you to have an idea of the seriousness of that body. The patron and the only patron up to date, first and only patron of that Ohaneze, it was Igbo Forum in 1976 that it was called, was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. And the chairman of that forum was Dr. Francis Akanebiam. And the vice chairman was Justice Dadi Onyama, who had in that same year finished his duty, the tour of duty as Justice of the World Court at The Hague. And he had also been Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria before then. Then, of course, we had Chief Jerome Udoji as the secretary of the organization. And then my uncle, Mr. ENUGU, was assistant secretary. And he was the one, I had to mention him specifically because he was the one that brought me in from ENUGU campus as a student, because they needed a young person who would run their errands. And by the way, later on, I got the title of Ojo's in Igbo, as the messenger of the Igbo people. So I have been doing this running of errands since 1976, and I was sitting in the meeting. I was the one going to River State, Saba, and not to share circulars. You didn't have social media technology to send messages the way we do today. So it was there that I got to learn more about what Igbo had contributed to this country and what Igbo brought to bear even for Nigeria to become independent, and events that led to the war. And by then, of course, those policies of giving us every Igbo man that survived the war had a hard bank account, 20 pounds, irrespective of what he had in his account, and other obnoxious policies of indigenization and so on were already in place. So the future was quite bleak. And I remember the patron, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, each time he had time to attend meeting, he will emphasize that the worst thing that happened to that happens to any race that lost a war is the loss of self-esteem. And the recover the lost self-esteem will require conscientious, it requires decades, it didn't say overnight, decades of conscientious focused leadership. And that made an impression. And as we speak today, it is that loss of self-esteem that is still afflicting and affecting the Igbo people today.
Even in politics.
Even in politics. Even in politics. So, there were other issues, but as I said, my motivation came from there, because that was the question. What was the motivation? And I made sure I was available to render service at every meeting. And between 1976 and today, it will be difficult to pinpoint any organized event or meeting that I never attended. So that is from there, I began to understand the implication of the structure the Nigerian government imposed on Nigeria, how it affected Igbo, how it still affects Igbo in terms of revenue sharing. We now have a constitution that has given land mass as a factor for revenue allocation, and population that has never been found. We have never had a credible population, but they've put up figures and assume some people are more than the others, and that will also be a factor in revenue allocation. And in the case of land mass, it didn't matter whether it was just desert and nobody was living there. It was still a factor. So states were created. The whole of the Southeast that used to be the place with the highest population density per kilometer before even independence was given 5 states. And other regions, geopolitical zones as created by the military, had 6 states, and Northwest had 7 states. The same government, essentially the military government, made sure that they created local government areas by fiat, not on the basis of any tangible parameter. Northwest, as as we speak today, has 188 local governments. The Southeast has 95. Nearly half of one job. Yet it's a geopolitical zone. These numbers, these figures, these local governments and states are also factors in revenue allocation. So when you look at all of this, you see, some of our people, the thing that Dr. Signaturetv talked about self-esteem, some of them began to change their names. You got to, up to now, we still have Igbo people who say they are not Igbo. Just recently, many of them their grandchildren are beginning to ask questions and realize that they are indeed Igbo. So how many years after the war, these problems have been there?
But that brings me to the next question. Do you think the Igbo people have a clearly defined political strategy to negotiate their interests within Nigeria?
I wouldn't say they don't have, but I will say that we have always negotiated something better. But it's only through a better political arrangement. For instance, outside of the military government that completely put us at a disadvantage, we had nothing to negotiate with. The Second Republic, let me even talk about the First Republic. The First Republic, the Igbo people coalesced on the NCNC. It's a political party. And Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was the leader. So it was easy to coalesce on that platform because of him. And then, of course, Dr. Azikiwe was able to convince the Igbo State Union, which was like the Ohaneze we have today, to align with NCNC. So that brought Igbo. After that election, the Northern People's Congress that won majority of the seats in the state, because we were running parliamentary system at the time, did not have majority of the votes. NCNC had. But to form government, you need a certain number of seats. NCNC went into a coalition with MPC to enable MPC to form government, and there was a memorandum of understanding which gave NCNC substantial participation in that government. So that was the negotiation that benefited Igbo people and others who were in NCNC. In the Second Republic, Igbo people again coalesced on the platform of MPP, which Alhaji Waziri Ibrahim founded, but the moment Zik came in, Alhaji Ibrahim out of respect said no, he wouldn't want to fight with Zik over who will be presidential candidate because he wanted to run for president. So he went and founded GMPP, Great Nigerian People's Party, to run and left MPP for Zik. So Zik took MPP as this flag bearer. The whole of the Southeast, we call what we call Southeast now, voted 100% for MPP. And MPP won a few other places outside Igbo land. The voting was so massive that in Ohio federal constituency, an MPP candidate died, federal house, died just before the election. So there was no time to replace him. But during the election, that dead person won that election. That's the level of support that MPP had. Now, what happened? MPN, which was the ruling party, did not have enough members in the National Assembly to form a stable government. So it had to go into an accord, the MPN-MPP accord, with Zik leading. And there was a memorandum of understanding in that accord. So that gave Igbo people some participation, like, for instance, Chief Edwin Umezuoke became Speaker of the House of Rep, MPP. And MPN took the Senate. And ministers, because ministerial allocations were given to MPP. Chief Professor ENUGU is still alive by the grace of God, became Minister of Education, because to us, education was even more important than any other thing at that particular time. Other people were given Polonongo and so on and so forth positions. But we got it wrong when in the Third Republic, people, for reasons we not have time to explain here, emptied themselves into the PDP and delivered 100% of all the seats, what I call their political capital in the PDP. And PDP, having sucked in the entire Igbo into the carried out their very, very wicked policies that put the Igbo people in a very terrible and embarrassing situation. One example is that in 16 years of PDP rulership of this country, there was not a single federal presence in the whole of the Southeast for 16 years. No project was started and completed. In fact, the Southeast was littered with abandoned and uncompleted projects until PDP left the scene 16 years after. So that's where we got it wrong. And we thought that bringing in ABGA as our own platform will enable us build a structure and political presence that will take us back to that constructive engagement that we saw in the First and Second Republic. So we did it. We got ABGA. We brought Chief Odumegwu Ojukwu to run. Well, he was not the first choice. In fact, it was the last resort. Because other people we chose, I don't want to mention their names here, but the records are there. I've written a book on it, and those names are there. All chickened out at one time or the other out of this issue of lack of self-esteem. They thought that it would be suicidal to even run as Igbo president. But the Odumegwu Ojukwu had the courage. He didn't have the money, but all we needed was, I was qualified to run that time. But I didn't want anybody to feel that all that we did in founding ABGA was for personal gain.
Interest, yeah.
So when the Odumegwu Ojukwu came out, it triggered fear, morbid fear in the ruling class and the political class, especially from the north. So ABGA became a national security issue. The fear was that if the Odumegwu Ojukwu was allowed to gain any foothold in the southeast, that he will resume the struggle for Biafra. Whereas nothing like that was in the Odumegwu Ojukwu. At a point, he even said he was one Nigerian that has not been allowed to be a Nigerian. It's all published in the papers. I'm not quoting what cannot be traced. So, but that was just what I call morbid fear. And the rigging of the 2003 election where the Odumegwu Ojukwu was involved as president was massive. It was so massive that himself, late President Buhari, myself, Balarabe Musa, and so on, all of us had a joint protest in Abuja and agreed to go back to our areas to continue the protest. So that protest was what took Buhari and Chubu Kadibo, his running mate, to Kano. And Chubu Kadibo was tear gassed so badly that he couldn't carry it. He passed out, he was taken to the hospital, he never survived. That was 2003. From that moment, as I said, ABGA became a national security issue. Everything that happened to ABGA from that time to ensure that ABGA never brought up another Igbo presidential candidate was hatched from the presidency till today.
Okay, let's come back to ABGA. Just as you've mentioned, ABGA was founded when the Igbos needed a political alternative platform.
Yes.
And then it did well.
Yes.
Looking back from where ABGA started and where ABGA is right now, what went wrong? What happened to ABGA, the vision we are seeing now with ABGA?
Well, this is of course I was already going in that direction, but we have just put the question. ABGA, when ABGA did so well that ABGA won Suleja federal constituency without a candidate. It won Amuward of federal constituency without a candidate. It won Ojo. These are in Lagos now. Suleja is in Niger State. Ojo federal constituency in Lagos was won by ABGA in 2003 without a candidate. Why? Not many people had the courage to take ABGA ticket, even when it was given free. But Igbo people were so supportive of ABGA that they voted at that time. All you needed to do, because there are not too many parties, all the parties were on the ballot, whether they had candidate or not. So, but where the results came out and a party without a candidate won the ballot, won the election, the result will go to the second person. Mm-hmm. That was why we didn't produce candidates, but we won in other places. So it was that performance. They know the ABGA real scores and the written one, and that put too much fear in them. It increased their fear. So they made sure that the crisis of ABGA was hashed in the presidency, and it has remained there till today. And ENUGU remains the only Igbo person who benefited from the policy of ABGA to consistently give the presidential ticket to an Igbo man. That was the first policy we enunciated. We were not interested in zoning because of the disadvantage we already have in terms of zoning. So we said ABGA will continue to field an Igbo presidential candidate until it was actualized. After then we can rotate. So this is the problem of ABGA is not an internal thing. It is something that was orchestrated and heavily funded, but Igbo people made themselves available for that betrayal.
Okay, so a brief one, was that why you didn't use the ABGA, when you did your 2015 presidential campaign?
We were in court for 8 good years trying to save the soul of ABGA. And 90% of the resources to hire lawyers, to go to court, everything was mine. Because like they say, when you have failed, you become an orphan. But if you succeed, success has many fathers. So because we were already at a disadvantage, not many people were prepared to invest. But in spite of that, we sustained the struggle for 8 good years. From 2004, ABGA was not up to 2 years when the crisis started. And we sustained it in 2011, 8 years. And for that reason, we're looking at it that it was endless. The other people were having resources from the state government in Anambra State to fight. I was practically knocking my head on the wall to sustain the fight. So we met and took a decision to leave ABGA and take that same vision to another platform. So we formed UPP, United Progressive Party, and continued with the vision. It was on that platform that I now ran for president in 2015. I was late to, but you see, by pushing us out to go and form another party, and I founding it as well, placed me in a position that I never really aspired to be. I became one of 4 Nigerians that founded 2 political parties in their lifetime. In the Nigerian political history today, we are only 4.
Are you sure you're not going to write to Guinness World Records?
Well, maybe because I'm the one alive of the 4.
Yeah.
Chief Obafemi Awolowo founded the Action Group and the Unity Party of Nigeria. Malam Aminu Kanu founded NEPU, Northern Elements Progressive Union, and the PRP. Waziri Ibrahim founded MPP and later GMPP. And by the grace of God, Chekwa Sokore founded ABGA and later UPP. And of all of these 8 formations, only ABGA is still alive, and only Chekwa Sokore is still alive till today. So I thank God for all of that.
So let's go to the 2015 presidential campaign, presidency for you. What really would you say was the reason why you didn't make it? Was it because you didn't have enough party members, or Nigerians didn't believe in your ability to rule them?
No, you see, Nigeria is a large country. We really lacked the resources. But and they moved because even in ABGA we lacked the resources. But the mood of our people at that time was different from their mood, the second time. They felt that if everybody put in whatever they put in to make ABGA what it was, and the same, our own people be betrayed and sabotaged APGA, what will be the guarantee that this one wouldn't go the same way? So we had to carry that burden. And at the end of the day, APGA, UPP couldn't really fly. And
couldn't survive.
Yeah, couldn't survive. And it was actually deregistered. And we decided we were not going to go to court to challenge its deregistration. We had grounds to go to court, but I said I'm done with court. So
still talking about election and the presidential election, we have the forthcoming election 2027. What is your take with the different campaign strategies? Atiku just made a statement this morning that he is not going to be in a debate situation with the president if he does not come up to also be part of the debate session. And then we have Obi also calling out on the government to give account of what really their records is. Make it plain, let Nigerians say it. We also have the PRM, if I'm not mistaken, presidential candidate, I be the chairman, also asking what have you done with the subsidy money that you said you brought out. Let us see what really is happening. And all of these things put together, what would you say about that?
Well, the opposition, they are doing what they are expected to do. I mean, when Tinubu and the others were in opposition, they did the same thing. They even did worse. This is a time for accountability. This is the day of reckoning is around the corner. So the people who have felt the pinch or the effect of the Tinubu administration will be the one that will decide which direction to go. 2027 election is going to be witness very robust campaigns, which has already started. It's going to be, there will be massive participation, part of which I am also involved in making sure that Igbo participation this time is at an all-time high. We're already in the field. And my only concern really, which I started expressing since last year, was that 2025, was that the late President Buhari deepened religious consciousness and ethnicity. Now President Tinubu has taken it to an all-time high. In fact, if what President Buhari did was considered too nepotistic and parochial, I don't know the expression to use to describe the one that Tinubu is doing. All I can say is that Tinubu has proved that President Buhari was indeed a learner in that area. And so, I thought, I was expecting that even my base would be wrong. But look at what is happening. Forget all this issue about whether you remove subsidy, whether you bring air-conditioned country to Nigerians or tar the road with gold and all that. I want to tell you here that 2027 election will be characterized by ethnic and religious sentiments. It's already in. And the religious leaders have not helped matters. They have helped to fuel it, and it is what is growing now. All I pray that it does not degenerate to violence. But as for people protecting their votes, Osun is a recent example of what the people's power, what they can represent in an election that the people want to take control their destiny. Because I mean, I haven't seen anything more, a show of force that is more than 32 governors of a particular party invading a state with all the paraphernalia of government in terms of their convoys, their security. It was almost like an invasion. It was a time that will make ordinary people liver people to sit back and say outside will be too dangerous. And when a few persons come out to vote, then whatever money they came in the boots of their car will be useful, because it is easier to buy a few persons. But the people of Osun State, they said, well, we don't have a vote here. Come out on election day, let us meet in the field. And they all were quarantined in their hotel rooms watching things. And the people waited for the votes to count, and the NEC did Well, I hope they continue along that line of having the results transmitted from the polling units. Although at a point, what Nigerians feared tried to happen when transmission was halted for about 2 to 3 hours. But of course, within a few minutes of halting transmission, protests came online. People were calling you from outside Nigeria, calling INEC to say, what are you doing? Do you want to set the country ablaze? So they resumed. And look at the result that came out.
Many people are arguing that we can use, the example of Osun State for Nigeria, because we're looking at a country that has over 30 states by APC governorships, right? And then you know the impetus, the power that each administration will have on the state to make sure that his state wins the election. And all of this, do you still see opposition parties like NDC, ADC coming out as a winner come 2027?
My own projection based on experience, and as I said, I'm still in the field, but now on a non-partisan basis. ADC will win overwhelmingly in the north. NDC, that is Mr. Peter Obi's party, will win overwhelmingly in the south and the middle belt. APC, in spite of being in government, will struggle in the west, southwest. It will struggle in the north, whether not east or not west. It will struggle in the middle belt. Forget about whatever boast any person is making in the southeast. It will be merely non-existent. The most difficult thing anybody will have as a politician is to convince the southeast people to vote APC. What are you going to tell them that will make them go to the polls and believe that their present condition will need to be extended to another 4 years? So it is not about the governors that are in the states. All these governors invaded one state and didn't achieve results. Is it when they are individuals and some of them are still contesting for election? They have their election in particular to win at, and the presidential National Assembly elections are not the same day with the governorship election. So knowing human beings the way they operate, their major interest is to win.
But Chief Okoria, it is also important for us to know that even before the current administration got to power, many Nigerians didn't really see him winning it because of the different records and the different court cases and different. Some say he was too old, they make caricature of him. Some say he was a drug baron. Many things were said about him, but yet he won. That's number one. Now, number two, he just had his campaign committee put together, which he is the chairman of the campaign. And this is not just an anyhow politician rather. He is a political technocrat. He knows politics to the grassroots.
You see, these are some of the high praises that we heap on the man that gets into his head. But be that as it may, let's look at the one he won in 2023. And I want to also go with the fact that he won. I don't want to start now to say he didn't win or it was rigged and all that. He won. Supreme Court said so. Those who said he won in 2023 by his own, all these qualities were attached to him, have forgotten the Buhari factor. Buhari was the major political rallying point of the North. Buhari was a serving governor, serving president at the time of the election. Buhari would not want, no matter whatever happened internally, to be the one to hand over the baton of office to an opposition. All those people Buhari empowered in his place in his nepotistic approach to governance were all with him, and they all needed to be protected. And therefore, if they will be protected, their party, whether they like the candidate or not, has to win. Now, what is that come? That come is that President Tinubu won 5.3 million votes in the whole of the North. At that time, with the Buhari factor. Buhari that used to win about 12 million in the North, in the 3 times he tried and failed. Tinubu had 2.8 million votes in the Southwest, his own West. If you add 2.8 million to 5.3 million, you are already 8.1 million. So the other 800,000 votes he had to make it 8.9 million came from the rest of Nigeria. Now the Buhari factor is no longer in the North. If you like, but you now the person that now is stepping into Buhari shoes in the North is Atiku Abubakar. That is the political truth. And considering also that Mr. Peter Obi had 2.1 million votes in the whole of the North, mostly from the middle belt and the few we gather, without even have what do you call them, polling agents in most of the northern states. Even INEC said as much. But today he has Ladi Kwakwaso in Kano. Today he has candidates that can fund their own campaigns all over the country. To defeat Peter Obi in Lagos is a tall order. I can tell you that. Because I know the permutations there. Except if there is no election in Lagos. To beat him in the south side, don't forget when Peter didn't have all of these things. He out of the 17 states in the southeast, I mean in the southern part of Nigeria, he won 11.
Now you're sounding like you're obedient.
No, I'm talking statistics.
Okay.
I am non-partisan. I'm talking, if we are going to project into 2027, we must not forget 2023.
Okay.
4 years ago. So if Buhari is no longer there in the North, who is that rallying point that bring the type of vote that Buhari gave to his party?
So now, if I understand what you're saying, you're now saying that Tinubu may be shaky, when his election period will come due to some of these factors you just mentioned.
It is, I have said it before, I'm not saying he will lose, I'm not saying maybe he will win or that Atiku will win. I remain non-partisan, but as I said severally that 2027 election will not be a walk in the park. It's going to be a very robust, very contentious election in terms of the capacity and control of these 3 persons. And I have mentioned what ought to bother even those in government. And that is that the issue of ethnicity and religion has been played up again. And the government did not do anything to call those who started it in order. Then those who saw that they were not, those other people, they were not called to order, joined that type of rhetoric in terms of telling their members, well, it seems there is no proper election in Nigeria, this is now a referendum. So those issues we are discussing are good, but they will none of those issues, whether you bring petrol subsidy back or not back, you tar road, they will not influence attitude in 2027 market.
Okay, now let's look at the peace accord that we had last week, if I'm not mistaken. The essence of the peace accord was for all political leaders and their party members, to be in good behavior and make sure that the 2027 election is carried out credibly, free, fair, and peaceful. But just after this, we have different party members making statements, inciting statements. Just on the news this morning, one of the chairmen was also making a statement, asking people to vote a particular party, and just before that, we also have the likes of Father Hunsi making statement that kill a particular party member that is not of the APC. And so far, no serious statement, just like you also said, has been given, to restrict or to bring these people to example. Exactly. What then is the need, the essence of the peace pact? Is it really needed in Nigeria? Because we know that the president was not available at the peace pact deal. Atiku was not also there. Is this a message that this is also another political stunt that shouldn't even be there?
Well, it's symbolic. It should be there for its symbolism. but it's not enforceable. So if you lack the goodwill to come and participate and append your signature to a peace accord, it sends a signal that you are not even prepared. You don't want to be held tied to any commitment regarding peace. That is the signal, pure and simple. Well, be that as it may, I wouldn't say it shouldn't be there. I would say it ought to be there. But somewhere along the line, we may have a president who himself will lead the process of reconciliation in this country, the process of peace amongst Nigerians. And so whenever there is something like a peace accord in future, you will see everybody participating, but because there's semblance of peace. But when a president who is the arrowhead, the buck stops on his table, whether Nigeria survives 2027 or not depends on his attitude to it, says he will fight to finish, in a public statement made before the Catholic bishops, where he said also that in politics everything is fair. Well, I know that during the Shakespearean era, he wrote in one of his works that in politics as in war, all is fair. But then, at that time, there was no rules of engagement. There were no rules of engagement. But now there are rules of engagement. We have now a neck, even in Nigeria, to guide the election. And a president, who is the father of the nation, says in politics all is fair. So, and that same president did not show interest in the issue of peace accord. You begin to wonder why are you going there to go and waste your energy. So we need, if we are lucky to have a president that will make the issue of reconciliation and peaceful coexistence a priority in his administration, amongst other things, then you can see that the issue of peace accord will remain attractive in the future. You made a statement. You said when the PDP ruled for 16 years, yes, the Southeast region never felt the impact. Yes. Are we going to say in this APC administration, the Southeast region is feeling the impact of the APC? There's an improvement, to be very sincere. A very huge improvement, because when you have a zero situation, anything that you add is an improvement. In the case of PDP, 16 years was zero. But in the case of APC, you can count the second Niger bridge. You can count the seriousness in rehabilitating the major federal highways in the Southeast. All of us travel in the Southeast often. Every week we are here or there. So we are seeing the difference in terms of federal highways. You can also see that there is, even if Nigeria has not been restructured as we want it, it has not been restructured at all. But at least we now have a government between Buhari and Tinubu that has given states the latitude through legislation to set up their own power stations. That is why you can now say that in Aba, there is steady power supply in Aba Industrial Ring Road, and that is also extending to other parts of Abia State. And that Industrial Ring Road is about 9 out of 17 local governments of more than half of Abia State is already covered. So in Imo State, they are already boasting of having steady power supply before the end of the year. ENUGU, the same thing. The coal that had been abandoned since the war ended is now being revived as one of the major sources of thermal power supply to not just Enugu State and beyond. So there's an improvement in federal presence, but not as much as we wish. But compared to the PDP 16 years of total neglect of the Southeast, what the PDP do, they just appointed some Igbo people in important positions. Those things mean nothing. Because they only service the immediate nuclear families of the appointees. Nothing that will benefit the ordinary man. If you do a good road, why won't poor man ride on it and big man will ride on it? Or to build one federal industry that will employ people in the area. Look at how late it took to form the Southeast Development Commission. Okay. And even at that, funding it has become an issue.
Now let's come back. We're still in the Southeast now. Quickly, let's look at the Ohanaeze. You know, you're one of the founders of that very
founding member.
Yes, of this association. People are arguing that the vision of the Ohanaeze is dead. They're not feeling their impact. What would you say about that?
No, I don't agree with that, because like I said, I was there in 1976 as an undergraduate when it was formed, and this is 2026, so 50 years I have been a member of it. In fact, this year is Ohanaeze 50 years in existence. It's even older than Afenifere. But because of what Igbo people had experienced in politics before the war, and after the war when Ohanaeze came into power, that based on the leadership provided by Dr. Carnegie, Ohanaeze remained non-partisan, but facing purely Igbo related matters. But by 1979, Dr. Ibiam voluntarily stepped down to take more care of his domain, which is Uwana Fibo, where he was the Ezogo of Uwana, traditional ruler. So the traditional ruler of Umunze, ENUGU, now replaced him. And ENUGU was a very well-known industrialist and major business person who could not be isolated from politics, because businessmen who have reached that level also have political interest to protect their investments. So unfortunately, ENUGU and Dr. Ekweme of PDP had some affiliation in which ENUGU made some statements that favored MPN, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, out of anger, and all the MPP, NCNC people who joined because of Dr. Azikiwe's presence all withdrew. So Ohanaeze collapsed, but was revived in 1983 at the home of Dr. Menakaya Enomonya. That was where it was revived. We all came back to ENUGU and continued. So we took a decision first that Ohanaeze will be non-partisan, and we put in the constitution at that time, and it's still there till today, to avoid that problem that brought it down. And then we decided nobody will be chairman of Ohanaeze anymore. That any time we came for a meeting, the most senior traditional ruler around will preside. Just avoid the chairman compromising the organization. But somewhere along, then we had Professor Benwabeze as secretary, who was permanent. So, but somewhere along the line, we decided that it was not right. We need to have a chairman. And that was where Justice Ozobu of Enugu State now came in. And he became the first person in Ohanaeze to take the title of President General. So now, coming to what the concern of many Igbo people, because Ohanaeze is non-partisan, he cannot find himself delving into the politics of Nigeria based on his constitutional constraints. And that is what makes it different. I find it very socio-political. Middle Belt Forum is a socio-political organization. Likewise, Pandev. It's only Arewa is also socio-political. They are not being socio-political, but socio-cultural. It is not being seen actively in politics. But I can tell you the President General that Ohanaeze has today is one of the best President Generals I have seen, or leaders of Ohanaeze I have seen since 1976. Okay, very active, very achieving results without being noisy. But he's not into partisanship, and that is the demand, the dictate of the office is holding. Except if we have to change it. If we change it, it has its own disadvantage.
Okay, so a quick one. You appealed one time to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu and other prisoners of conscience, describing it as a symbolic and healing gesture of reconciliation to the Igbo people. Do you still stand on that?
Oh, yes. You said I appealed one time. I've made that appeal all the time, right from when he was arrested at Golden Tulip Hotel in Lagos. I have always said that the issue of Nnamdi Kanu was never, it's a political issue. It's not a matter for any court, because it will never end in court. That people in authority have to exercise political will and have to make peace and sit down and talk with Nnamdi Kanu and his group and see how we'll move ahead. I have never relented in pushing that argument. When I had access, for instance, when President Buhari was there, I had access. And a number of times I raised the issue. You will only be diplomatic and say, well, I've listened to you, but don't forget that there are other people whose views will also be considered.
But do you think the Southeast, the governors of these states in the Southeast are really doing enough?
No, they are not doing anything at all, not even doing enough. The governors in the Southeast are not doing enough except for the symbolic gesture of the governor of Abia State being the state where Nnamdi Kanu come from, of visiting him at the prison in Sokoto. Except for that visit, these governors who claim every day they have such rapprochement with the president of Nigeria have never for one day as a group presented the issue of Nnamdi Kanu and other prisoners of conscience to the president. In fact, I can tell you that they couldn't even broker a simple courtesy visit by Chief Emmanuel Nwanya, who led Ohaneze to pay President Buhari a courtesy visit where he could make this presentation in the most respectful manner. President Buhari never met with Nwanya until he died. President Buhari has not met with President Tinubu never met with Nwanya. He has also not met with the President General Senator Zutambata. So there has been a total, and our governors are not doing anything about it. And I can tell you that this government is not in the mood to let them surprise me. But I tell you they are not in the mood to release Nnamdi Kanu because of trying to be politically correct. They believe releasing him now may cost them some votes in some parts of the country. So anybody thinking that our brother, our son will come out anytime soon, is not. I don't see it from my position. And if we have a president that is talking about reconciliation and unity in the country, his first action will be to release Nnamdi Kanu upon assuming office, and all the other people. And that's the beginning of dousing tension, and then you can take reconciliation from there.
Okay, so we are so behind time, but just one last question. What would you rate INEC? Do you think INEC is ready to be independent? Of course, they're supposed to be independent. Do you think INEC will be interfered with come 2027 elections?
INEC has always been interfered with. They were interfered with even in Osun State. But the will of the people and the vigilance of the people and the intervention of even foreign interests through phone calls, as it was about to happen, was what put INEC in check. So, as interference, take it that it's better to prepare for that interference. There will be interference, but the people will also make INEC to do his job, and if he's able to do his job, it will be praised, because INEC is sharing the praise in what happened in
Osun State.
But left to them alone, it wouldn't have happened. So the people help them to succeed. So the people will help them to succeed this time.
And I know I promised that will be the last question, but this is also very important. you are the chairman, the national chairman of the ENUGU Agenda Dialogue.
Yes.
And according to your team, you're targeting at least 20 million registered voters in the southeast and 15 million Igbo voters outside the region before 2027.
Yes.
How has that been? And these registered voters, what is the aim? You are apolitical.
Yes.
So what's the drive?
First of all, let me even give the scorecard right now. INEC is here to publish the number of registered voters. Basically, they have closed but we couldn't make exactly 20 million. We were close. But we surpassed the number we gave to Igbo people outside the southeast. We made almost 20 million outside, above the projected 50 million. Now, as for the purpose is one, to get Igbo people, first of all, show interest in the electoral process. Secondly, the one we are doing now, and we will continue to escalate it as we move, is to get them out to vote. We are not telling them vote for A or B or C. Come out and vote, because if you fail to vote, you have voted. If you fail to vote, you have voted for the person you will never have wished to be your president or your representative or your governor or even your councillor. So you don't have a choice. You may be part of the decision making as to the leadership recruitment that 2027 election will offer Nigerians. So as to who you vote for, I do not have any doubt in my mind that the average Igbo man is so rational that once he chooses to come out and vote, it requires little persuasion as to who you vote for.
Now, I know it is important, you've clearly stated that you're non-partisan, but I believe you also have your right to choose who you want to vote for as every citizen of this country.
Yes.
Come 2027, who do you have in mind in all of these candidates would you prefer if you were to vote for?
If I say that now, I have ruined my non-partisan approach as the leader of Igbo Agenda Dialogue. I've ruined it completely.
But okay, you're not standing as a leader. You're standing for yourself now as an individual.
There's no difference now. So I don't like when people make a commitment. When they ask them, why did you say this? They say, no, I spoke as a person. No, anything I say has direct implication on IAD. And IAD is taking a position of non-partisanship. And that's where I stand.
Indeed.
Wow. But in terms of voting, it is secret ballot. So nobody will ever know who the other person. That's why I said the average Igbo man, to my thinking, is so rational that once he has decided to go to that ballot box to cast his vote, it requires little persuasion as to who he will vote for. The same applies to me.
All right, thank you so much, Chekwes Okoria. It was really a pleasure having you in the studio. As you can see, we didn't know how time has flown because we are having fun.
We're having fun indeed. I'm doing every part of it.
Yes, and I hope to see you some other time to discuss more of all of this.
I'm available.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right then. This is Signature TV on the Signature Morning Show. It's been an amazing time, right? Stay with us for more exciting content coming your way. I'm Christopher Lele. Good morning.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on the Hub, your ultimate show on eVibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
So I should try harder. So
Okay, I don't know that one.
outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hubs on eVibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Tired of the snow? Tired of the bad TV signals? Nigeria has gone digital. Introducing Free TV, the national platform for every Nigerian. Get 100 plus channels immediately. Sports, news, and entertainment in your native language with clear picture quality. Whether you're in the city or the village, our satellite signal reaches every corner of 36 states from day one. No monthly subscription, just a compatible decoder and you are set. It's a national asset built for you. Take the show on the road, download the free TV app and stream your favorite channels anywhere. Starting this May, scan to download the app or call 0700 388 7277. Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by NBC.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signaturetv.
Signaturetv, news in your pocket. Signaturetv, news in your pocket.
New every morning on Signaturetv, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signaturetv.
Signaturetv, news in your pocket.
This is our first program for this 2026. So can I wish you a happy new year? Fantastic 2026. You are welcome. My name is Umar Bosenjok, and we are beginning the year with issues in Nigeria's pump pricing of petrol across the country. Now, it's important for me to take you back a little bit. On November 29, 2023, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was being inaugurated as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the very first statement of promise he made, can I quote him? Subsidy is gone. By that presidential pronouncement, the president changed the dynamics in our oil industry calculations. Let me not go any further. I'm not competent really, I'll just raise these issues here. And that's what has brought him where he is within the Nigerian public sector, or within Nigerian public view. Madaki, you are welcome to the first edition of Signature Morning from Abuja this 2026.
Always a pleasure, let me tell you.
Madaki, you see, I'm raising an issue of concern to me even as an ordinary citizen. The controversies, the conversation going on in the pump pricing of petrol in the country. And as I said in my introduction, I want us to start this conversation right from 29th of May 2023, when the president said, I have removed subsidy. Subsidy is gone. Madaki, think about that statement. It was weighty for the oil industry. Do you think that statement was well thought out? Was it roundedly thought out before the president made that pronouncement?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chief Njoku. It's always a pleasure to be here. You know, and one of the reasons why I've never declined your invitation to be on your program is because, you know, I don't know how you do it, but you bring a lot of fervor, you know, a lot of intellectualism into the conversation, you know, and unless the person interviewing you is actually really good and sound in the topic, you know, and he has done some research, you know, if the questions are peripheral, the answers will also necessarily be peripheral. You get the point. So that said, you know, I think that statement, subsidy is gone, was a totally irresponsible statement, you know, by the president. And I say this without any form of fear of contradiction, you know, and I do not say this lightly, you know, because government policy as I know it, you know, in a structured country, should not just be.
We are local.
International communities observing
Why the main market is in chaos. People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken the view by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it over before.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Development Discourse, where we ideate for Africa's development. My name is Patrick Okibo. I'm the founding partner at Next Year. Next Year is a multi-competency advisory firm that's focused on helping to address the complex development challenges we have on the continent. As you know, Africa is home to about 1.5 billion people and some of the most dynamic economies. Yet many of these nations have stalled reforms, weak institutions, uneven development. What bold strategies or strategic choices must the continent make to build stronger economies and improve the lives of our people? My guest today understands these issues and has written extensively and spoken extensively about pragmatic solutions to these challenges. For the last 30 years or so, he's worked as a development leader in more than 40 countries. He has unparalleled experience in building financial systems that deliver impact and has a deep understanding of Africa, as well as unmatched connections at the heart of international financial systems. He's currently a vice president on special leave for budget, performance review, and strategic planning at the World Bank. Previously, he served as chief of staff to two World Bank presidents, David Malpass and Ajay Banga, as well as senior advisor to two World Bank CFOs. He also served as the director for International Development Association, IDA, Resource Mobilization, and International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, Corporate Finance Department, where he was responsible for implementing IDA's hybrid financial model and the policy analysis of IBRD income and corporate finance. In this role, he oversaw a really successful IDA 20 replenishment 1 year earlier than planned, with a record $93 billion raised to finance, 75 of the world's poorest country, about half of them are in Africa. He's also authored several seminal books, serving as foundational thoughts for Africa finance, making finance work for Africa. I mean, it's a must read for people in the space. He's also co-authored two World Bank publications, Financing Africa Through the Crisis and Beyond, and Financial Sector Development in Africa, Opportunities and Challenges. Dr. Mayambo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your generous introduction. Greatly appreciated. And congratulations for this program. It's programs like this that get us talking about Africa, so thank you very much.
And thank you for making time to join us. We've been seeing your movements across Africa, campaigning for the presidency of the Africa Development Bank. So we're really appreciative that you could find the time to do this with us. But I thought we could start by unpacking your thoughts on Africa's development, its challenges, its potential, the role for the Africa Development Bank in all of this, and ultimately, why do you consider yourself the best person to lead us at this pivotal time? When Africa must get its act together and address the very pressing needs we have. So, if I may start, you've dedicated your very dynamic career to addressing Africa's development challenges. You're well acquainted, with the various scholars and their theories regarding Africa's underdevelopment. From your perspective, what or why have we continued to struggle as a continent with developing and ensuring quality of life for our people?
Thank you very much. That's a great point to start this conversation. But before we get into it, I want to make sure we don't lose sight of what's working on the continent. Across the continent is actually higher than the global average.
Okay.
We have 16 countries today that are growing at a rate of more than 6% per annum. We have 300 firms with revenues in excess of $1 billion. And the level of innovation in our financial systems is as good as it is anywhere in the world. Our technological advancements in mobile telephony are great. But your point is valid. Why are we still struggling? And after 30 years in development, I come down to one issue, and that the pace and scale of our development efforts simply is not enough. You can go from Cape to Cairo, from Nairobi to Abidjan. You will find good development projects, good development initiatives. But unfortunately, they continue to pale in comparison to the scale of our challenge, which is what brings me to the African Development Bank, which is after working in development and getting global experience, watching all of these developments take place, I've come to the conclusion that the formula for development that, saw Europe develop, America develop, Asia develop is exactly the same that we need right here on the continent, which is massive investment and scale. And if there is one thing that I hope a successful Maimbo presidency will leave behind is significantly higher resources for governments, for individual projects, so that we continue to make a lasting impact on our people.
And that's a fantastic understanding of what the issues are and how we move forward. But if I may dig deeper, where do you see the growth, the massive growth opportunities in Africa? And I know I run a risk of kind of generalizing Africa. We know it's not a country, it's a continent, different people at different levels of development. But as you travel across the continent, as you've engaged with these issues over the last 3 decades, where do you see the significant growth opportunities on the continent?
No, thank you for that question. Over the last 3 months, I've traveled to well over 30 countries, and the diversity that you've just acknowledged is alive and well on the continent. And I think when it comes to growth, which is key to getting us out of the quagmire that we find ourselves in, I am encouraged by the fact that we've got many sources of growth. If we look at our traditional industries, mining, agriculture, the key there is reinvesting and making sure that we're getting as much value as possible, as close to our sources of production as possible. We need to add more value to our products. To the latest and sort of the newer industries, whether it is film, whether it is the arts, I have met amazing young people on the continent whose work, if you put it in a gallery in New York, in London, in Paris, would command significantly higher dollar values than they currently are. And so when I look at the sources of growth, I'm not worried about identifying new sources of growth. It's about how do we pull all of these things together to make sure that they're actually working for Africa. And in this regard, there are 3 pillars or 3 areas of focus that I want to champion. The first one is getting us to trade with one another. The Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement is going to be the biggest source of growth on the continent for the simple reason that as long as we continue an export-led growth model, our products are going to be much more expensive than than other global products. Mm-hmm. It's for that reason that when people talk about Africa's contribution to global trade, it's been at 3% for the last 10 years. It was probably 4% when you go back to the 1980s. It was about 5%, in the 1960s, 70s. And if we keep doing what we're doing today, by 2030, 2050, we're only about 2.7%. So we've got to accelerate continental trade because it's cheaper, it expands our markets, and it will attract additional investment. But as we pursue that, we mustn't lose sight of the basics of development. If you're going to trade with one another, you're going to have infrastructure between you, your countries. You're going to have to invest in energy, and you're going to have to invest in human capital to make sure that the engine of growth is growing. And I think if we are, there's plenty of debates as to why we are not doing that at the moment. I come to the conclusion that I look forward to debating with staff at the African Development Bank is, are we investing too much in individual country projects? So that if you add up all the money we're pouring into infrastructure on the continent, add up all the money we're pouring into energy, it is significant. It's just that we're not investing it in a way that connects these economies and gets them to thrive rather than just survive.
And we themed this conversation cracking the code, and I think we've gotten to that point now because you've kind of identified for us what we believe are the big levers, right? Trade, investment in infrastructure, investment in human capital. Now, if you can dig a bit deeper into that, what's challenged us with having this intercontinental trade? What are the political challenges? What are the infrastructure challenges? And how do you see the Africa Development Bank, playing a pivotal catalytic role in resolving these issues and just driving us in that direction where we can see more trading and the growth that comes from that?
So in answering that question, I must start by acknowledging the fact that I don't have a silver bullet to this particular problem. Otherwise it would have been done. But what I do come with is the experience and knowledge that development is not a linear process.
Mm-hmm.
That development is people just like you and me debating solutions and putting our best foot forward, learning and constantly improving. So if there's one thing that I want to do more at the African Development Bank is actually spend time debating issues, listening to our governments, listening to the private sector, especially the domestic private sector in each one of these countries who have been at this for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
That said, there are a couple of things which have been consistently provided to me alongside this campaign trail. The first one is financing. We need to increase the amount of financing that governments are dealing with. And for some governments, it means finishing the outstanding work on debt that they're grappling with. You can't grow if your arm is tied behind your back. Exactly. For some governments, it means doubling down on domestic resource mobilization and making sure that we are reinvesting in our economies. And for those African countries that are growing, have good, decent macro situations, it's about increasing access to international markets. So that diversity of financing sources is going to be critical. Now, as an institution, we can't join that conversation as effectively as we should if we remain an $8 billion annual lending institution. $8 billion is significant, but it's nowhere near enough for a continent with 1.5 billion people with a development agenda that we have. So a significant part of the work that we need to do is to make sure that we are strengthening the financial foundations of the African Development Bank, diversifying its sources of finance. And I have a high degree of respect for the finance team that's at the African Development Bank. A lot of innovation there. I look forward to joining them to support